Oh, oh no. I need a break. Hey, my name is Andrew Whipp. I'm a professional video editor, and today we're gonna be rating horror movie jump scares. Let's do it. First clip, let's jump in. We have Smile. Some dramatic shots here. No music, which I think is an important indicator of something scary is about to come. Music can sometimes telegraph what you're trying to do. The fact that it wasn't there, as the audience, you have nothing to like grab onto to know where you're at contextually. Oh. Something. Is there a voice back there? Classic. Enhance. That's my favorite part, is when they go, enhance. Like we have that kind of technology.
We have the technology.
I mean, we do, but it's never as clear as they make it in these movies. Also, turn on some lights, Rose. Anywho, that was an effective jump scare. One of the first things I noticed is there wasn't any music. It just gets so quiet and you lean in so much. Every time it cuts back to the waveform that you're seeing, it cuts in a little closer and a little closer, and she keeps leaning in, and you're just instinctually as the audience member like, That's usually a good spot to put a jump scare. I think the horror movies that do it the best actually use that knowledge that you have against you. They make you think that it's gonna come when you're used to seeing it in these horror tropes, and then they put it somewhere that you don't expect. That's very, very strong. That's one of the best jump scares I've seen in a while. Up next, we have another clip from Smile. High hopes after that first one.
I can't have you around when you're like this.
Oh no. Okay, getting in the car. The hyperventilating alone in the car. We've all been here. I think this is gonna be a common theme. No music, you're kind of just living in this moment with her. Oh, she's coming back. It's a good sister.
Holly.
Oh. Okay, that was that was great. I'm gonna go back. Hold on. I just need to see this head. That looked practical, honestly. That looked like a practical effect. Just that huge thump that you hear when the jump scares happen. I mean, half of the jump scare is just you reacting to the loud noise. I feel like when a lot of us watch horror movies, we're looking for the jump scare. So anytime a horror movie can do anything to take you out of that like paranoia and just put you into the story, the more likely it is that the jump scare will work. And I think this was a great example of just amazing acting and amazing kind of like staging and blocking in the scene, the car, the daylight. Like these are all intentional decisions that were made to make sure that you didn't see it coming. Next up, we have Jordan Peele's Nope. It's raining. See, the decreased visibility of the rain. It's not what you want. Yeah, they're really sitting in this. I think there's this pressure buildup that happens when you stay on a shot and don't cut away. I think they did a very great job with that. Pretty standard jump scare. It was loud, but I wouldn't say I jumped out of my seat or was like super horrified. I think that's also in part due to the fact that you're pretty well prepared for that. And also just the fact that it was like an inanimate object kind of creating the jump scare instead of like a person or something that you knew was gonna harm him. I think sometimes that adds to the jump scare.
Get out of here! No, don't go there. That's where they were. That's where they were. That's the way out!
All right, next up we have Barbarian. She's got more guts than I do. I wouldn't go down there. This scene does actually have some music that's interspersed throughout. Some kind of like big droning ambient horns or something. And they let you know that whatever is going on down here is no bueno. So I think you're on high alert. This is a horrible decision. Oh my God, it's him. Okay. When the movie starts, this character was the person that you thought was the antagonist, which I think adds to the overall interest of the whole scene.
We have to come this way!
way. Someone's
Lots of frantic fighting. Oh, she was right. Oh no. I think he's dead. As far as jump scares go, I'm a sucker for like this trope of it's dark and they're whispering and it's coming and we have to get away. And then obviously the makeup that they have on that gremlin or whatever the hell that thing is fantastic. Middle of the pack, your standard jump scare.
They've come to save us. Who's a good boy? Who's a good boy?
Next on the docket, we need to do something. .mp4. Little editor joke.
I think it's a dog. A dog? He's licking my hand, you guys.
The whole like, it's licking me. This is hilarious. They do sit on that for like an odd amount of time.
It's actually a dog.
And after enough time elapses, you're like, okay, what is this really licking them? It does sound like a dog.
Who's a good boy?
I mean, it's panting like a dog. You'd definitely expect it to be.
I'm a good boy.
Oh no. It's not a dog. It's a cat. Playing onto the fear of getting your hands stuck in something or not being able to like pull yourself out and all the screaming. I think that's a pretty effective way to freak people out. Fun fact, that voice that we heard is apparently Ozzy Osbourne. So.
Sick of making excuses. You got something to tell me? Fuck.
Okay, next movie, Spiral. I'm actually gonna put in my second headphone here and see if it makes it any scarier.
I've called you 3 times. Please call me back. People asking questions and I'm sick of making excuses.
You get caught up in Chris Rock's urgency. Again, anytime you can pull people into that story arc and get them to forget for a second that they're watching a horror movie, the higher the likelihood that you can catch them by surprise.
You got something to tell me? Fuck.
Oh! To make matters worse, it's a pig face doing it. Yeah, that was like the loudest of all of the jump scares. Not just because I had 2 headphones in, I don't think. I think they had to compete with the music. So when that sound comes in, it really has to jump up over top the music to get you, and it certainly does. It's a pretty solid jump scare all around.
Move, you mean old ugly bitch.
Looks like we have the movie X next. The wide shot definitely adds to the film school term mise-en-scene. Whenever you see a wide shot like that, there's always a purpose behind it. There's always a reason. I think in this particular instance, they're showing you a wide shot to let you collect a bunch of visual information. They're not going to show you that if it's not important. She already looks scary. And just the way the old lady's lit, I think this is actually a great instance where like lighting contributes heavily to the scariness of it. It's not just dark and hard to see, which is a component. The way that the shadows are cast on the characters' faces, particularly the old lady, already scares the crap out of me. I don't even think the scene needs a jump scare.
Why'd you come with me?
That's not nice. Take your shirt back.
Ugly bitch.
Oh no. Oh, oh no. Oh no. When she gets pushed into the water, you're almost relieved. You're like, oh, that's as bad as this gets. Going back to that concept of misdirection, you're thinking, whatever, no harm, no foul, she'll get out. No, she won't.
Bitch.
There's some kind of a mistake.
Next up, we have VHS 94. Brings me back. VHS. The found footage, continuous take thing is just, it's so effective. That long, continuous POV shot really gets you connected with the character and what she's experiencing. Oh, and you're in like a funeral home? Beeline it out of there. Talk about getting sucked in. Oh no. Yep, start running. He's just kind of standing there.
There's some kind of
Maybe it's not so bad.
at the morgue.
The one really funny thing that I find about these found footage films is like they're always putting shooting as a priority instead of saving their own life. At this point, you probably put the camera down. Suspend disbelief, right? Oh no. Wow. Half of his head laying on the ground. That's really great, actually. We're all used to seeing that fuzzy VHS screen, and they use that to their advantage to kind of set up new scenes and move the story along. in a way that doesn't kind of stand out to the viewer. They're almost like little invisible cut points that the editor can use. It's all about sucking people in, and that effect definitely sucks people in. I think the reason they can get away with so many jump scares in one scene is because this is a point of view shot. So as she looks around, new information kind of comes to light. There's multiple. She gets to the door is locked. She turns around, she walks into the room. He's not in the coffin. He's staring at the wall Blair Witch style. Because there's so much new information being introduced all the time visually to the viewer, all these jump scares feel fresh and new. Next up, another VHS. This time, this one's 99. VHS 99. Coming in hot. Ugh, so claustrophobic. I've been told these are real spiders that are in this coffin. Dirty, muddy water is just pouring in. If you've ever been in a small confined space, the noise around you changes. Like your ears pick up on reflections of sound differently. It's like tinnier almost. And you can definitely feel that in the audio. You can feel that the water is like surrounding you. She's a remarkably good cinematographer for somebody who's going to be drowning alive in about 30 seconds. She's like keeping the angle on her really solidly. Whoa. Oh my God, now its hands are coming through. Oh no. A call out to kind of the set design and this idea that you're never shown anything that isn't going to come into play in some way. The top of the coffin has a cross cut out. There's some scary religious undertones there, of course, but there's also just hey, something to look out for. Little things that if you've seen enough of these movies, you can kind of piece them together. I think they did a beautiful job of combining all of these really crazy phobias that a lot of us have. Being buried alive, drowning as the water starts to pour in, being abandoned, being left alone. As if it wasn't bad enough, let's add somebody actively trying to get into the coffin. And although you knew bad things were going to happen, you still got scared, you still jumped. And I think that's kind of a testament to really great editing, really great set design, really great filming. You know, all of these decisions that they made in the production and in the post-production really led to making this effective.
Someone's gotta die now.
No, Amber, I'm coming.
Okay, Scream 5. The marathon continues. This is pretty convincing. I like when it's like a believable plot. Oh, final question.
Who was the killer in Stab 1?
Great films do a really awesome job at manipulating the information that you have access to at any given moment.
The correct answer is Billy Loomis and Stu Marker. There are 2 killers in the original Stab.
There's some really solid foreshadowing going on here when he lets her know there's actually 2 killers, not 1. Oh no! Oh! He's got a knife and she's got a knife. He stabs her with his knife and she slaps him with her hand instead of using her knife. Just want to point that out. I think honestly the scarier part was the fight after the jump scare when she was trying to close the door on him. I think what happens right after the jump scare is almost just as important as the jump scare itself. People who are really, really into the Scream franchise kind of saw that coming sooner than people who weren't as familiar with it. Probably one of the weaker jump scares I think I've seen today. Looks like we have Candyman here. I'll say this about the mirrored elevator. Anytime you're working on production with mirrors, it is a nightmare. Shout out to these guys. It's dripping. Oh, it looked like him. That was freaky. So when the blood starts dripping from the ceiling and he looks up, they do a really good job of something called match cutting. It's almost identical framing, almost an identical angle. This is a pretty commonly used technique, but I think it was really well used here. An editor's entire job normally is to try and hide their cuts. When that Candyman gets cut to, you almost don't even notice the cut happened, which makes it even scarier. That's great. Elevator opens, just a group of kids standing there. The comedic relief you get after this jump scare with the doors opening and the kid's standing there looking at him like he's crazy. I think it's pretty great. You're trying to take the viewer on a ride. It's contrast that gets people, you know, excited and interested to watch something. And this scene in particular does a great job of kind of riding that wave. If it's just scary for 10 straight minutes, if you don't have these kind of moments of levity and moments to breathe and moments to reflect, people get burnt out and worn out. And then these jump scares and things that you're trying to do aren't as effective. Next up, the Forever Purge.
Don't ask any questions, not right now. I'm gonna get out of the
He's
car.
giving her a revolver.
Okay. I'll be right back.
And he'll be right back. There he is, milling around. So she can see the guy running around in the mirrors. He can't. Oh, he's at the window. That was good. I think they did a great job of setting up misdirection because they made you feel like the woman in the car could see everything and that our main character could not. They were able to kind of formulate a shot that had her and the person scaring her in it. So we could not only get the reaction, but kind of have our own reaction to the jump scare as well. Kind of a 2-for-1. I feel like there's 2 of them though. I feel like that wasn't the guy we saw. Doing a little POV from behind him there. Oh yeah, no. There was a lot of things converging there to make that fun and interesting and cool to watch. I thought this one was really good. I thought this was a great jump scare. Really, that first one pops up out of nowhere. Second one was a bit more predictable, but overall, I'd say it was really, really good. Last, but certainly not least, Halloween Ends.
Wait, what are you trying to do, man? Suck your own. Oh my God!
Billy's not alive anymore. It's a bummer for their friendship. She's trying to climb out, going over the barbed wire, seems unfazed by the barbed wire. Looks like the car is gonna hit her on the fence, and it does. Runs him right over. Oh, I always love this trope when there's someone banging on the window. Help me, come outside. Oh, he's got a giant wrench. They're ready to tango against Wrench Man. It's Mario. If the main character or the character in this particular instance who was supposed to be scared had no reaction, I feel like me as a viewer is also not going to have much of a reaction. Wow, there's a lot to unpack there. You could tell they were trying to pull off a tremendous amount of jump scares in this 3-ish minutes, and almost none of them landed on many levels. From the way the shots are set up, they were just these kind of uninspired wide shots, to the sound design or lack thereof, corny music that just didn't feel like it appropriately fit this scene, to the acting where the characters weren't really having huge reactions. This is probably the worst of what we've seen today from a jump scare perspective.